Sometimes on the farm, you just really wish you had a forklift. Well, I found an easy way to convert the skid steer into a forklift. I bought one of these $180 forklift skid steer working platform safety cages. Holds 1,200 pounds, collapses, pretty easily and stores away on wheels. And when you need it, you pull it out, you flip up a few gates, hook up two chains, and put on a safety harness, and you're good to go to get up on things. So my daughter's here actually assembling this for me. It's Thanksgiving weekend, and I've actually got a couple gutters I want to clean out, and I'd like to put, some Christmas lights up. And in the past, I got to take out, a 20-foot ladder and risk standing on it, and I've got to try to get up to the edge of the gutters and cleaning them out. I just don't really want that anymore. So I decided to get one of these, $180. How could you go wrong? And the nice thing is it fits on most standard forklifts, and it also fits on skid steers, especially if your pallet forks are adjustable so that you can narrow them down to the 36-inch width. This platform is 36 by 36. It's rated for 1,200 pounds. I was a little disappointed it didn't come with any type of safety harnessing, but that's okay. I'm not stupid. I went and grabbed one of my extra deer stand harnesses that I had for about, I think, $30. It's kind of a cheaper, cheesier one. And certainly going to turn that into one that stays with this platform, because I'm not going to risk life and death by getting a platform and that not being tied in. Number one, you don't want to fall out of this thing. Number two, in case somebody ever drives like crazy or an accident does happen, you want to be able to at least hang on. As far as the assembly goes, most of it was pretty easy. The front gate they actually had on inside out, so we had to switch that. And then it was just about figuring out the wheels and how to put them in the right spot so the forks could pick up the device and easily move it around. It has on the back two fork pockets, it has two eye hooks. Those eye hooks make it so you can take a chain and chain it to your actual forks. That way it can't slide off in case somebody does something stupid with the driving or the tipping of the machine. But again, $180, folds up, 1,200 pounds, and you can go as high as your skid steer forklift can lift you. My skid steer, I think, can put me at about, I'm going to say I probably could easily reach, 16 to 18 feet in the air at least. Granted, I'm 5 foot plus, and I think my skid steer, can go up probably close to, I'm guessing 12 to 14 feet in the air. So you get quite a bit of reach out of this. Basically, the areas where I really want to use this, I want to use this when picking apples. I want to use this when picking some of our nuts. I certainly want to use it for putting up the Christmas lights, which you're going to see here in a minute. And I want to use it to clean out some gutters and stuff on the barns. Those would probably be the things that I'm going to use it for every single year. And then on rare occasions, I'd like to be able to get up in the arena. It's 16 feet to the bottom of the rafters, and my other two barns is 12 feet to the bottom of the rafters. It'd be really nice to just drive in, get picked up, and be able to work and service on the lights and the wiring. I think that would make life so much easier. And you get one of these things, you're like, well, where am I going to store it? Where am I going to put it? But as you can see, this one is collapsible and folds down. As long as you don't crush these wheels with your skid steer and setting it down on the ground, it's kind of nice because it rolls. You don't even notice, the 100 plus pounds this thing weighs. You wheel it away, you set the brakes, and it locks it right where it is. If you want, you just turn around and do something different. It's fantastic how easy it is to work with the thing. So I couldn't go wrong for $180. I'm real pleased. If you're looking for one of these, order one out of Amazon. I think that's going to be probably the cheapest and most affordable, at least be my guess. So here it is. You can see they've got them all bolted in here. They came with nuts and bolts. For the most part, it arrived in good shape. There's a few, chips of paint missing on a couple spots, but I hate to say it, nothing I care too much about because, again, This is just one of these tools where when I want it, and it doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be real functional. So the girls got it together for me, which was really nice. And the minute they got it together, the first thing I want to do is I just want to take it out and hit the pavement as far as cleaning some gutters. So here it is all together. It moves around pretty easy. All four sides lock in place with these little kind of like ratchet clips, which is nice. And it's time for me to get suited up and in this thing. So I've got my harness on. My daughter's going to fire up the skid here, and she's going to spin around and pick this thing up. And she's gonna drive for me with this, and I'm going to go up, and the first thing I'm going to do is get over to this corner. Got a small wasp nest up there. There's no wasps in it this time of year. It's about 20 degrees outside here in Minnesota, folks. We're already in winter mode. It's actually been quite dry this summer, and it's turning out to be a fairly dry winter. Here you can see I'm just adjusting the forks in a little bit. This thing is only 36 inches wide, so you do have to have some adjustment ability on your forks. If your forks don't adjust, well, then this might be a little bit more tricky for you. But my forks just slide over and adjust in and then lock in place, and it works out pretty good. As far as picking it up, you pretty much can just literally shove it on these forks. I'm holding it back just so it doesn't push away from her because it literally wants to wheel away. The two chains also did not come with it. So like I said, this thing wasn't, it didn't come standard with safety equipment. It didn't come with a harness, and it didn't come with the two chains. But the chains, I've got hooked to the eye bolts at the bottom that they gave us, and then I run them through the back of the arms so they can't slip off. And it's set to go. It's really quite nice. So I'm real pleased with how it is right now. So in I go, and lock the door up on this thing, and then hook myself into it. And what I first realized is that I'll probably just always hook myself into the actual skid forks. That way, if anything actually happens to the device, I'm able to stick with the skid steer. The other thing with it is the tubing is not as strong as obviously the skid steer is. So I give her directions, and she can haul me around and see how this thing works. So the first area I want to go over to is this 14-foot door. This 14-foot door is on about a 16-foot sidewall. I got a small little hornet's nest starting up there, and I just want to check and see if the gutter is full. There's a little pitched roof here that we use to keep the utility door and the barn door of the arena open. So as I get used to her tipping me up and she gets used to running me up there, all things said and done, it went pretty smooth. I kind of had to get used to it a little bit myself. There is no good grip really to the floor. It's just a flat floored metal bottom, and has kind of like I don't know what you want to call it, like more of like a grippy pattern, like a diamond pattern on it. It's not real grippy, so I actually might put some traction tape in a few spots on it just so I can grab on more when the person's lifting me up. But anyways, she got me into place. It took us a little bit of talking back and forth to get the directions right, but she lifted me right up on here. I was able to clean out the little hive that's starting from those wasps, and able to check the gutters, make sure they were cleaned out. It really worked out really quite nice. I was quite impressed. Like I said, I'm happy to have something like this for as affordable as it was. I mean, gosh. Anyways, got that one done, and I thought, you know what? Let's go over quick and do the Christmas light pole, and let's see how it works for that. Now, if your skid steer has self-leveling, turn it on. This particular one does, but it wasn't turned on today, so she's just keeping me level the best she can manually. So she's gonna drive me over there to our light pole. We own the light pole, so it's not a county pole. So if anybody's wondering, no, I didn't go put Christmas lights on a county pole. I do have to pay the electricity for the light on the top of it, but the pole is farm owned, so that's kind of nice. That way nobody gets upset if you put a pair of Christmas lights or something on it. But this year I thought I'd light it up by this method instead of trying to do it with an A-frame ladder. So my daughters are out here. Got myself a couple strands of wires. I think I got 4 strands of lighted wire here. And I'm just going to go around the tree and loop it on, and I'll be working at the front of the 36-inch platform. I got a hammer and a couple staples for when I get up to the top. And in the past, this has been kind of a bear cat to do off a ladder. Probably not even the safest, but really quite nice how this little jitney gets you up there. I think I'm going to really like picking some of the apples. Now, I won't be able to pick everywhere in a tree, don't get me wrong, but I'll certainly be able to come up to the probably 2 or 3 sides of the tree that we have fantastic access on. Just be picked right up to it, have a couple 5-gallon pails in this thing, and literally be able to pick apples and set them right into the thing and not have to worry about them falling or dropping or bruising. So I'm really looking forward to using it on that too. So again, not just for gutters and not just for Christmas lights, but I can use it for that too. And I know it's going to make this a lot easier to work on lights. I could go out and rent a scissors lift for a day, and it costs about $200 to do for a whole day out at my place. And then I got to drive into town, pick it up, and get it back on their little trailer. Well, this is great for $180. I think I spent $10 on some chain and a couple ends. And like I said, the harness I had, it's a $30, cheap tree stand harness, but it works fantastic. I'm basically at $200, and I get to use this as many times now as I want. It stores away pretty simply on the farm. I found this to just be a really nice little tool. So here I've already gone up as high as I need to go up. I don't want to get too close to my actual light with the wiring. I might actually stop the light from turning on otherwise. And I'm just going to take a nail or two and just stick it up here just to kind of keep things from sliding down. And then basically it's work my way back down, add more lights. I mean, you never can have enough Christmas lights on, right? Anyways, I thought this thing worked fantastic. It's light and it's easy to work with. I mean, the Skidsteer just toys with it. Ain't no big deal for it to pick this up. 175-pound man on a 100-pound basket, 36-inch by 36-inch chain to the forks. It worked out great. And like I said, I'm going to take this tree harness I have, because it's just a generic cheap one that came with one of my stands. I'm just going to leave it right with this so I always have it. I'm not a big fan of going up without being tethered in. I've seen enough people fall out of deer stands and tree stands and fall off of ladders and fall off of roofs and cause damage to themselves. So I am staying tied in. That is for darn sure. So I think I'll just put this one right with this setup. That way anytime I want it, it's always there. And it'll work really nicely. So as you can see, I got the lights all up and they look fantastic. I'm real pleased. Unhook myself, step out, and that's it. I've her back out of here. I'll show you putting this little thing away. It collapses down really nicely. Piece of cake to use. Like I said, my only complaints, I think they should have sold it with a harness. I think they should have supplied the 2 pieces of chain that you need to wrap it around your fork ends so that it can't slide off. But that's life. So here I am. I'm just unlatching the sides, taking off the chain there. I just had the chain sitting up on the top just to keep it out of the way after we unhooked it from the skid steer. But I'll unhook each side of the chain, and then I'm just going to kind of fold this thing down. Like I said, it's all hooked together. So once you start kind of taking apart, everything kind of folds in on itself, which is fine. So the first one there goes down. And then the other 2 go down, and the front one is just a door. So you just fold the door in, and then it lays right down on it. It's awesome. My daughter and I are just going to zip tie the harness right into it. That way I've always got it right there when I need it. I don't have to go search for the dumb thing, because that would make it a lot easier for me. And then we're going to hook the chains together and get them in here. That way they just aren't getting caught under the wheels or anything. And then I'm just going to, for right now, just wheel it out of the way. I'm just going to stick it under my center of my trailer, and even if I forget it, it'll pass right underneath the axles, which is no big deal, and we're good to go. So there it is, folks. It's a work platform made for skid steers or forklifts. It's sold on Amazon. In the notes of the video, I'll put the link for it. $182, well worth it, folks.